what you want, when you want it, where you want it. This is The Mesh.
Stopping in the old neighborhood.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 78, volume 4 of a special pumpkin spice edition of Big Fan. My name is Chad East, and I am not a big fan of pumpkin spice car air fresheners, pumpkin spice deodorant, and last but not least, Hank, yes, I saw this with my own eyes, pumpkin spice scented toilet paper.
Disgusting.
Gross.
Disgusting. My name's Hank Eimer, and I'm a big fan of having a friend approach you wearing a shirt of a race that he didn't run and act like that's okay. Walking into a convenience store and hearing a banger R&B jam on the surround sound, asking the attendant about it, and immediately having a new best friend. Buying a car in May, realizing it is a little too small for your lifestyle, and selling it for more money in September.
Good Lord, sir. Let's start here. Are we talking about the car that you just purchased within the year?
I got it in May.
In May, that you had waited. You were on a waiting
Year and a
list,
half.
a year and a half, and now she gone.
She gone on Friday.
So tell me the story.
Unless somebody wants to
Give you some more money?
on Thursday.
Go ahead. Tell me what happened here.
So I got the Ford Bronco, right? Waited forever for it. I am leaving a Tahoe to get in the Bronco, right? And I'm a hoarder. Like, I've got like 3 flashlights and headlamps and stuff. And the Tahoe allows for that because it's got a lot of room.
Sure.
Right? The other thing is we got growing kids. And so there's a bench seat in the back of the Bronco with no third row. The Tahoe is a third row and like captain's chairs. And so, I wouldn't be comfortable in my Bronco in the back. Right? Me and another dude wouldn't be comfortable in the back. Harris and his buddies are starting to get a little bit uncomfortable in the back of that. So we've been, we've driven to games and stuff like that. And it's just kind of been like, not weighing on me, but I got this new car. I love everything about it, but I don't like the size of it. And the guy that sold it to me, he's a good friend of mine. He was talking to me one day and he's like, are you happy with it?
Right.
Always selling.
Sure.
And I said, to tell you the truth, I'm not. I need something bigger. And he was like, well, what if I could say I could give you more? What if I say I could give you significantly more?
Unbelievable.
I said, well, what's that number? Mm-hmm. So he called me on Monday of this week, and that number is enough to get me out. So your boy's going Friday to get rid of it.
Okay.
All right? And, there's a car shortage out there.
Yes.
It's not really what you want. The good news is I've got an 05 Yukon XL. Paint's a little bit suspect. Headliner's falling down a little, but it's comfortable. It's got cold AC.
And it's free.
And so what I'm doing is I'm just going to go ahead and sell it to him, and he's going to keep his eye open for what I'm looking for, a little bit bigger car. And but it was an experiment because I've never had a new car.
Yes.
And
it was new for you. I mean, you just seemed very anxious when the time was come to take the new car. You seemed anxious.
I've never had a new car,
right.
And the thing is I've never had one because it depreciates, and I don't like that feeling. I'm kind of cheap. Yeah, I don't like.
We all know that.
I don't like the idea of losing 10, 20 grand when you drive it off.
Sure.
And I was explaining this to Harris the other day. He said, "But Dad, you're making money." I was like, "Well, historically these are depreciating."
Right.
But today,
it's an anomaly.
They're appreciating.
So it's funny. I got behind one of these Broncos the other day, and it's so funny we're having this conversation. We have not talked about this at all. It looks skinny. And I was thinking to myself, it's deceiving, So when you're behind it was, I'm not going to, because I was driving Jennifer's car. Mm-hmm. She has a Tahoe. And I was like, look how skinny this car is compared to yours. And she was like, yeah, it is kind of smallish. But anyway, there you go.
There's the Sport, which is the real small one.
Okay.
Maybe you were seeing that one.
It might have been the Sport.
Yeah,
this thing was really
the Sport
skinny.
feels like a 16-year-old girl's car. Like it's tiny. And then mine is a little bit bigger than that. But it could have been because it is smaller than the Tahoe. But needless to say, ding dong.
Making deals, making
ding
money
dong,
everywhere.
it's gone.
Ding dong, it's gone. Well, good luck with your, I've always thought this too. The worst decision car-wise, I don't know much about cars. I know they get me to one place and back. You know, I'm on the road. I travel, so I don't have to have the nicest vehicle. I just want something that gets good gas mileage. On the other hand, I want Jennifer to be something. She's driving the girls around, something safe, reliable. We had this one, the Tahoe, just like yours. You know that
Oh, yeah.
that one was the dope. I mean.
The jam.
The jam. It did everything good. And it was paid for. I mean,
Love
it was
that.
Paid for. But no, we got to get something. There's no reason we needed something brand new.
Yeah, there is.
And so, yeah, to have another damn car payment. That's the only reason
you go.
we didn't need it. And so, if I could do one thing back related to cars, I would say, let's just drive that thing till you can't drive it anymore. Save that $600 a month payment. And, you know, we could, I'd buy a damn mountain house with all that money.
Buy it.
Buy it.
Well, you know,
Sold.
The crazy thing now is when we were driving growing up, like my dad would look at a car for my brother or my sister or me, and the budget was like $2,500 to like $6,000
To buy the car.
buy the
Yes,
car.
you own
And
the
you're
car
talking
for that.
about like probably getting an Accord, Honda Accord. It's probably got like 50,000 miles.
Yeah, a little Civic.
Yeah,
You know, something like that.
It's probably got cloth.
Yes,
but
cloth.
it's gonna work.
All you need.
All you need. A used car now. You're gonna spend 18. You're gonna get a Jetta that's got 120,000 miles,
Right.
and it's gonna be tough.
You're right.
So, and hey, don't even think you're gonna get a used Tahoe for under 60.
Oh heck no! You know that's funny. We've been getting these calls all the time because they know that Jennifer's got this Tahoe and people want these Tahoes. It
Yeah.
might be smart just to see what they want for it. Maybe we could come out
You ought to do it.
ahead like you.
You ought to do it.
I will look
Call
into
our
what it is.
friend.
I will. I will call when we get out of here. I will call him today. So let's stay on we're just talking about used cars and used cars for high school kids. Blah blah blah. Hank, my 30th year high school reunion takes place this weekend.
That's crazy. Can I ask you a question about a
ahead.
car?
Yes.
What did you drive in high school? Because I know your brother had the Mitsubishi, not Eclipse,
was
the Mirage.
the Mirage,
It looked
yeah.
like a car off of like Mario Kart. It looked like something on Mario Kart that like maybe Bowser would drive.
Sure,
like he'd hang
sure.
out the side or something.
Bowser. What was or Latiku? Latiku was the little guy that hung in the clouds.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I drove. So it's you'll like this story.
I can't remember, but
yeah, so
I know you're gonna when you
This
said
is
it. I
it.
don't
So
know.
when I was 15, my aunt, she had this 280ZX T-top black. Yeah, it was the 280Z.
Yeah.
This thing was
It.
fierce. I mean, it
It.
was badass. And so I got it when I was 15, and it was stick. And so my dad would take me out and practice, and I'll confess here, everybody knows this of me. I'm a terrible driver. I have a really bad sense of direction, and I'm just not the best driver.
Okay.
So anyway, after a few trips in this thing, because it would move. I mean, it was a bad automobile. It looked like
Kit.
yes,
Small version.
Yeah, small version, or Smokey and the Bandit kind of. You know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about? It was badass. So T-tops, so cool. And so after like 5 or 6 lessons, my dad was like, "Son, you're gonna kill yourself driving this car. I just don't think you're ready for it." And I did not complain. I was like, "You're right, Dad. I need something that's just automatic. I can focus on where I'm going instead of trying to do all this and go fast. I don't need that." So he sold it. And he said, "I'll get you a car when the time is right." And I was like, "Cool." He said, "But until then, you can drive my old company car, which was a powder blue 1984 Ford Tempo, 2-door.
Awesome.
2-door, yes. And I'll never forget this. I'm not the tallest fella in the world. It had these bucket seats, so when I would sit down, literally, I could not see over the steering
You
wheel.
had to see through the steering wheel?
I had to look up. It was so weird. So he bought me this sheepskin thing you put in the car.
Oh,
It
yeah.
had a little booster for your butt, so I could actually see over
Booster
the
seat.
Booster seat, but it was lambskin or sheepskin or
Sure.
whatever. And so,
Lovely in the summer.
Oh God, Dad, could you imagine the cracks I got from our homeboys about the sheepskin?
Oh, about the booster seat. Forget
Well,
the
they
sheep
didn't-
screen.
The booster seat was kind of hidden.
Hidden?
You didn't really
Oh,
know it
okay.
was there. They just saw the
It looked like a
sheepskin.
Yeti was sitting behind you.
Oh God, when we come off the tennis courts or whatever, like sweaty as heck, you get in there and I wouldn't have a shirt on and lay back to the sheepskin.
It just grab you.
Oh, it was a terrible feeling. But anyway, to make the story better, so I went through my first. So that's what I had all through junior year and then senior year until October, and we were playing away game at Freedom. It was for the conference championship, and we won. I scored 2 goals. It was a phenomenal day. And my dad picked me up, and we were driving home from Freedom. It's probably 9 o'clock at night, and we pulled in the driveway, and this is 1995, I guess. A 1994 LeBaron convertible black was sitting in the driveway with the top down. And I was like, whose car is that? And he was like, congratulations, son. Here's your car. So anyway, I had to wait a year, but I got that car.
Yeah,
it was a surprise.
Yeah, you trying to say you got that in 95, though. I graduated in 95, and
I'm
you're
sorry,
much older than me.
91.
Let's get this straight.
I'm getting my college and my high school.
Okay,
So
all right.
91. It was
91,
yes.
Okay.
But it was sitting in the driveway, and so that was a good memory.
Did you see how excited you got about that car?
did,
That's why I wanted to ask you about it before we got too much further, because you're talking about your high school reunion, and everybody gets so excited about those days when they drive.
We would have these days too at Hunter Carell's house on Saturday. So Friday night was hanging out with the boys. Saturday day, we spend the night out and we wash cars, play hoops, whatever. And then Saturday night is date night. That's how we did it. So Saturday, after the night out with the boys, everybody would get together and literally we sit in Hunter's driveway, 6 cars, just wash cars, listen to the radio, whatever, maybe a ball game's on, but just wax on, wax off. That's what we were doing, getting the cars ready to take the girls out that night. Fun stuff.
Pretty good
Fun
stuff.
So anyway, so the reunion is this weekend. We've got, here's the itinerary. So Friday night, we're going to meet at the social house, I think it's called now, right? Mm-hmm. And that's where we're going to meet with a bunch of folks and have a drink or two, just shoot the bull, and who knows where the night might take us. We might end up at Shooters. We might end up on my back deck. Who knows where we're going to end up.
But you're going to end up at a football game.
It's away.
Oh, it's away.
It's East Lincoln.
Who has homecoming, like a reunion at an away game?
They didn't do the reunion around homecoming because they put a feeler out last year to who could make it, and nobody could make it for the homecoming game. So anyway, we're just doing the best we can do.
Do the best. Go.
Yeah, so then after that, Saturday, there'll be a little event. We're going to try to get together at Spook's Lake House for a little barbecue. So we meet there at 12, watch football games, swim, do all that stuff, fun stuff. And then the reunion starts at 6 p.m. Saturday evening at the warehouse.
How many people do you have already signed up?
So I believe there are at least 40 of our classmates coming. And the goal is to get maybe 50 with spouses. So we'll have 100 people there, we hope,
That'll be fun.
Yeah, but we'll see. Kit was telling me he had his 30th reunion last year. 9 people showed up.
9 people.
9 people.
I bet you mine won't be much better. Yeah. We haven't had real good success pulling people. Mm-mm. And the funny thing is it's so hard. Well, I know with Facebook and everything, it's easy, but like the people that end up coming, say there's 50 people from your class, you will have kept up with 40 of them.
That's exactly right. I looked at the list, and that's exactly right.
So you're gonna see a couple people that you don't see, but maybe you bump into every once in a while, and the rest you'll know. And that's kind of the crappy part about it.
Yeah, I agree. But what can you do? You got to put it out there. Hopefully people can come in, and who knows? Hopefully it'll be like at the last minute, some people will decide to come, and then it'll be joyous. But anyway, I wanted to ask you a couple questions about reunion. You said you haven't had one in a while, but I decided because my reunion is this weekend that starting on Sunday, I'm not eating any carbs, right? Now, so I'm going to get really lean and mean.
Oh,
in 1
he's
week,
trying to get
really
it.
lean and mean.
Yeah.
Also,
you're going to do some push-ups before you get out to the lake?
Of course I will. Absolutely. Do some of these. Get those 10-pound weights and just knock out about 100 reps real quick.
Yep.
Well, anyway, I was looking online. I was like, man, I got some gear, some stuff I can wear, but maybe I should get a nice shirt for this or maybe whatever. So I'm browsing some things, and then I actually even go to the mall last week, went to H&M.
The mall?
Yeah, when's the last time you went to the mall?
I don't know. Maybe when they had like the German cookie place over there. I don't know.
That's about 18 years ago. But anyway, I go to the mall, I go to H&M. I'm just looking around. What can because H&M is kind of not very expensive stuff.
Yeah.
But it's stuff that I would wear.
Right.
So anyway, they have a couple of like really funky hats, right? And so I was like,
fedoras?
Let me try this hat on. And so I started thinking for the podcast, like a big noggin like yours, you can really only wear one type of hat, right? And that's just like a ball cap.
No.
What other hat can you wear with that big noggin?
Hey, have you ever seen those beer hats with the 2 beers on either side? They are built for my head shape. Don't even start.
Thank you for that, because I was thinking about what is the worst hat ever. So they've got a couple hats in there. Do you remember when Pharrell had that hat on? It was like the Australian cowboy hat. It was
Yeah.
really tall.
Yeah.
So they had one in there.
Okay.
I put that on my
Urban sombrero, a little bit.
I look like the biggest D-bag ever to
Oh,
walk
I
the
wish I
streets of
would've seen
Hickory.
it.
I mean, I was like, who wears a hat like this? Right beside it, they had like the Captain Stubing hat. You know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
yeah, yeah.
The Captain's
Yacht
hat-
Rock?
Yacht Rock hat. So I tried that on. I was like, nah, this ain't me.
Any of those hats, like you try on like the big cowboy hat, and you're like, who the hell wears this? And turn to your left, and a guy's got one on, you know, kind of like Caddyshack. Looks good on you, though.
That's great. So again, I'm thinking, what are the worst hats ever? You know, me and you, I wear my ball cap all the time, as do you.
Yep.
You don't rock this, but I'll wear a fedora every now and then.
Nope.
Give me the worst hat ever. I might have already described it, the Pharrell hat or the Captain Stubing hat. Is there another worse hat that you could never imagine you walking out? Oh, got one.
I've got one.
Okay, you go first.
Beret. No self-respecting man wears a beret. I got to tell you that right now.
Like, can you imagine? Do you remember a rerun from What's Happening?
Yes.
Can you imagine you walking out, you know, like you're going to go see a client and you got one of those rerun berets on?
No, could you imagine me coming out to the tennis court and me wearing a beret to play tennis in?
People would just start throwing balls at you. Hitting
Yeah,
balls right at you.
yeah.
So I'm going to say one, and actually I say this because one of our friends wore it this weekend, and
Oh.
actually it looked good, but it was a rainy day. The auto lawn was this past weekend, and it poured down rain. So we were under tents and everything. But when you had to go out, you know, if you don't have an umbrella, you need a hat to protect your head because it was a downpour. So the Indiana Jones hat, you know what I'm talking about, the Indiana Jones hat?
Sure do.
Only certain amounts of people can rock that. Well, my man Kit Cannon had one on, and he looked fantastic in it. Me, on the other hand, I tried it on. Terrible. I can't.
Not
can't-
good.
Can't rock the Indiana Jones hat. But anyway, I like the 2 beer can hat. That's always a classic, you know.
It is.
You know, I'm a toboggan guy, so you can
I like a
consider that
toboggan.
hat. I wear a toboggan all the time. But anyway, on my list of things to talk about, worst hats ever.
Well,
I
I've
think-
got one.
Go ahead.
You know, like even the Indiana Jones hat, I can kind of get behind because people are like wearing them now, and they're like instead of wearing a cowboy hat or whatever. And as I'm getting older, and I've had cancer removed from my face, I can get over a big rimmed hat. But like like the big rim hats, like I can even get behind the straw big
hat.
rim. I can
Big,
even
yes.
get you're
Wear it to
sitting
the
out by the
beach.
pool, by the
Yep.
beach. I can get around. The one I can't get behind. The Three Musketeer hat with the feather that flies really wide behind it, you know? That you've got the big rim hat, but it's got the long feather.
I could see you, LT, and CJ all coming to the tennis courts or wherever we are all together wearing those hats. This would be miraculous.
It would be, wouldn't it?
Miraculous.
It would be
yes.
great. The other
Three
two that I was
amigos.
thinking about is, the one that has the Asian one that is like at a point and it goes in a circle. I don't know. That could be, it might be great in the rain. I don't know.
Yeah, it could help you.
And the other one that just popped into my mind was, the rainbow color with the propeller on the top. Not very many people can get that away with that one. Now our producer is now pulling up Three Musketeer hats, and they are as bad as I remember
yeah,
them.
there's the feather.
I mean,
Oh,
and
yes.
some of them have lace.
You know?
And a good sized buckle.
Wow. Ozone from Breaking.
Oh yeah.
Ozone. He actually had a hat. Do you remember? Because he'd go like this and had a feather in the back. That dude looked so smooth. We were talking about Ozone yesterday because on ESPN2 last night, it was the breaking 2022 breaking competition, breakdancing competition, and a shout out to Ozone. He passed.
I did not know he
So
passed.
rest in peace, Ozone. Look.
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about. The multicolored
Yes,
with the propeller
with
on
the propeller.
top.
Man, that
It's
would look good on you.
It's and then sometimes I think ladies try to wear hats, and I'm going to show you a picture. And this is one of the royal family that had this on, and it just gets to a point where. Ladies try a little bit too hard. I mean, I can't.
That is Beatrice, if I'm not mistaken. And I remember when she wore this outfit, it looks like she has an octopus on her head.
Does look like, or
Doesn't it?
or some sort of like there's a huge spider
Yes,
on her.
it's very, very scary.
Yeah, there's it's not a good look, but women.
There's Beatrice wearing a
I think
butterfly
it's down.
hat.
It's
Yes.
down a little bit further.
Yeah, go a little bit further, Moose.
There it is on
she
the right.
blows.
So
There she
this is where our producer is showing us this hat, and I think she wore this at a royal wedding.
She did.
Okay, so women try to be too cute. right?
Yeah.
I like a small, like, you know, I go, you can wear something small, but that's getting out of control.
Yeah, it's a little much.
So worst hat ever?
Worst
I
hat
think we found most of
Yes, there it is right in front of us. Queen Beatrice's hat, the octopus is what we'll call it.
it.
All right.
Octopus.
Yes.
Okay.
So staying with the royal family, the Queen passed away this week.
She did.
Sad moment for everybody. The funeral or the recession. What is it called when they go through the streets? Processional is actually taking place right now. Our friend Charlie Henry actually flew over there, not knowing this is all. He got there on a Saturday or Sunday. I think she passed away this
Is this a
weekend.
business trip or is this?
Just he and his baby doll. Just he and his wife. They're there for 10 days. And so they've been to all these events. And he was like, man, it's just crazy.
I bet.
You know, I mean, can you imagine being there? But anyway, so he's going through that. Now we have a new king. Mm-hmm. So do you like this monarchy system?
Well, if we're going to get real political as we stand right here, I mean, you know, there's something, and the way I'm going to say this is like, there's something romantic about that system. You know, I mean, like not, you know, let's not talk about everything part of it, but, you know, I mean, really and truly, I've enjoyed watching that, you know, why? Because it's so foreign from what we have, and not knowing the dirt and the dinge and the crap and the, you know, everything that goes along with it. You know, I don't have an opinion because I haven't ever lived under it, but I kind of find it not romantic, but like, you know, interesting to watch.
Sure. It's good soap opera tabloid stuff to keep up with, like the stuff with Harry and Print or whatever, what's her name? Markle. Meghan Markle. I mean, it's just, it sells a million newspapers. People want to read about this in the tabloids, you know, but, you know, when it comes to really the political, all that, I could really care less. It's more for
Can
fun.
we agree? Can we agree on something?
Yeah. I don't know. You tell me.
That woman's got to be special to make a man leave what he left. And now there can be some headaches with it, but
I bet you when he goes to bed at night, he's like, son of a bitch. What
did I do?
Done?
What did I do?
What have I done? And she seems like a very nice person. But I'm saying he did sacrifice a lot. Yes, exactly. He must really be in love. But so good luck to him. But what do you think about, how do you think Prince Charles, now King Charles, how will he be as a king?
well, I think he probably said it's about damn time.
Well, it's been waiting 73 years.
Yeah, I mean, it's about damn time. I mean, you know,
Right.
that man, hey, he's a woman killer, that man, you know? He's waiting to call him, walk into a bar and say, King's here, bitch. You know? So I think he is. I don't know why our producer's pulling up his hands, but we have a lot of picture of his sausage fingers.
Oh, I know, because he has this disease, something with his fingers. Yeah, they say, that's right, he doesn't like to text. And now we know why.
now we
Look at
know
those
why.
fingers. He cannot text very well. He always wants to talk on the phone because of these fingers. But I think he looks like a royal douchebag.
Yeah, I do too.
I don't know if I could really, you know, I don't know anything about the man.
William,
He-
I think, is going to be the
Yeah,
deal.
he seems pretty sharp.
Yeah, he'll be the
pretty
deal.
sharp fella.
He'll be the good deal. So I don't know, man. It's not that interesting to me. I think when like the royal wedding, you know, I work with a bunch of women.
Yes.
And
They eat this stuff up.
oh my gosh, the wedding was important, and now the funeral is important, and you know, I just don't find it that interesting.
Well, something I do know that you find interesting is the beginning of fantasy football and football in general, and the beginning of school. You know, we've been on a 4-week hiatus, Hank. We haven't been in the studio since really mid-August. Since then, I've had a trip to Hilton Head with my homeboys from college, which was just a banger. We've had 2 fantasy football drafts. I had one with you, had another one with another group of folks. We've had the beginning of school. You've had a race where you raced in the pouring rain overnight and all this good stuff. So let's catch up on this. Let's start with school. So far, 3 weeks in, Harris, 7th grade. How are we enjoying school so far?
Well, that's been good. You know, he is in a tough math class, and the one thing that he's starting to realize is when you start getting pushed, you need to start working.
I think Lucy Rose is in that math class.
She is.
Yes.
She is.
Yes.
And so, you know, he had to do math over the summer to get, you know, to feel comfortable about it. And he's doing fine, but he's got homework and he's having to work and getting stuff wrong, and it's not as easy as, so it's actually a good thing when they start to hit that, you know, hit that wall where they've got to actually put in work. But it's work for him.
Yeah.
And so it's been good. He's enjoyed all of his classes. He's enjoyed that class because he knows, several people in there. So it's been good. Playing soccer, played their first soccer game yesterday and won 2-1.
All right.
Yeah.
Grandview.
Grandview.
Way to go, Grandview.
How about Lucy Rose?
Yep, same way. Yep, everything's going well. Has Harris asked for you to help with the math homework?
Sure
yet?
has.
Okay, how'd you do?
So when they first started, it's taken me a little bit of time, and I will tell you, I cheat a little bit. Okay?
You go back to the old way that you know?
No.
What do you do?
To get me back to the point where I remember certain things. Have you ever used a app called Photomath?
I have not.
You cannot show this to your kids.
Okay. Do not listen, kids.
Okay. You can take a picture of an equation.
Yeah.
And it shows you step by step how to do it.
Technology, unbelievable.
Yep.
Where was this when I was in 8th grade?
So,
Yep.
and so what it does is when we first started doing this to make sure that that I knew the steps that he needed to take, I'd take a picture, wouldn't show it to him. I'd stand back, look at it and be like, okay, now I remember that a little bit. And I have a dry erase board. And so now I will sit down beside him and we said, let's just do, when we get started on it, let's just do this. I want to do it because I want to get back into it. So I'll write out the equation and I'll do it, solve it. He'll do the same thing. And if we don't come out with the same one, I'm like, hey, what do you think that is? What did I do? What did you do? So, but it is hard when you haven't done something in 30 years. I mean, it's taken me more time to remember certain.
Were you a good math student anyway?
I was middle of the road. I wasn't a great math student.
I was terrible. So my kids know not to ask me anything math related. Because
Jennifer good?
Jennifer, yeah, her mind works that way. My mind does not work equations and formulas. It works in a different manner. And I'm going to say this on live air here, coming to you live here in the studio, October the 13th. I made a D in math in 8th grade.
Wow.
In 8th grade, I made a D. And so I've told Lucy Rose and Olivia both this. So that's the other reason they don't come to me and ask me any math questions, because I made a D, Hank. That's so embarrassing. In 8th grade math? Come on, Chad. Get yourself together here, sir. Get yourself together. Are you writing a formula out as we speak?
I want to just show you something of like what I'm trying to tell you what this Photomath does. Okay.
So what
you
Hank
take
has done is drawn out a little formula. Is that what you call this?
Yeah,
a formula.
It would be a problem.
Math problem. And he's taking a picture of it.
I'm going to take this app, and this is going to blow your mind.
This podcast is sponsored by Jackson Creative, a custom communication agency located in downtown Hickory, North Carolina, specializing in online content creation. To learn more, visit thejacksoncreative.com. Jackson Creative, we tell your story.
Although we're in the studio, and the studio tends to take a little bit longer when we need stuff.
No problem.
Okay, so you see this.
I'll link it in the comments.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I took a picture of that,
Yes.
and now it is showing you how to do that.
Unbelievable, man.
Is that not
in
crazy?
In a second.
Then it can show you,
brings
and then you can say, show me the solving steps.
Pretty amazing.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah, but
Pretty
what about
amazing.
if you are a cheater? I mean, can you use this just to get your way all
I'm
the way through school?
I'm sure.
Yeah.
But I'm not a cheater.
Yes.
No. But I just need a little bit of help to remind me how to get to point from A to B. Because I'll see it and I'll be like, I got that.
Yeah.
Negative, positive.
Bing,
Wait a minute.
bing,
Wait a minute. Wait a
bing.
minute. Wait a minute. I missed what I missed.
Yes.
So don't tell your kids about this.
Okay. No, your secret's safe with me. So
Thank you.
Good luck with that.
A
Also,
D in math though. Let's get back to
Yeah.
that.
Oh, I want to
What
move
grade was
past
that?
that. 8th grade. I just could not do math. My mom would help me study all the time. I felt like I was always ready for the test. And when we'd get in there on the test, I'd make some dumb error. And I was the beta club president too, and made a D in math.
I bet you when you made that math and they told the beta club like
I had to step down.
liaison, they're like,
Chad, he's made a D. So I had to step down as president.
I would have too.
Yeah, I did. I
If I
was
were you.
very embarrassed.
That is
But anyway,
embarrassing.
speaking of accomplishments, last night, Olivia she's the National Honor Society president for this year.
Nice.
She had to make a speech in front of Hickory High last night, so I got to go into the mall, and they had everything
students,
set up.
teachers.
So teachers and new inductees and parents. And so she made a speech. She wrote the speech. It is really phenomenal. I was so proud of her. So Olivia, she's real nervous, as you and I would be. You know, when
Yeah.
you're a
Yeah.
senior in high school, you got to
Sure.
speak in front of a bunch of people. So I was like, the one thing that will solve nervousness and anxiety is if you are overly prepared. You know, you have gone through this thing a
Absolutely.
million times. You know it upside down. There's nothing that can throw you off. So let's practice. So she wrote the speech about a week and a half ago. We practiced every night. So she would say it, and then I would say it, and then she would say it so she could hear it herself and then hear somebody else say it. And I also wanted to hear, you know, when I'm speaking on a mic,
Your delivery.
or something, it's all about delivery. It's almost like a rhythm.
Yeah.
The way you say things, the way you pause.
Slow.
Yes, the way, you know, and you can say words for emphasis and all this stuff. So we went through it all, and she had it down. There was a last sentence, and I was like, Olivia, this last sentence, you really bring it home. Bring it home. Get the whole place just raging, waiting on your every
Right.
word. And the last word was, or the last sentence started with, students, friends, teachers, I implore you, right? And
Right.
then she went on with it. So here comes the part. Here it comes. Here it comes. And then because she's looking, but she's looking up and looking at her notes, looking up. And so at this part, she looked up and she gazed upon the audience, students, teachers, faculty, or whatever. I implore you, like this. I was like,
Nice.
she nailed it. She nailed it. And then she went on with her thing. And so after the event, it was great. You know, they had cake and punch,
Yep.
and all the kids were coming up and congratulating everybody who got in, and a bunch of great kids. I mean, they worked real hard to get in National Honor Society. They all came up to Olivia and was like, I implore you. So they listened.
Yeah,
they listened. So anyway, she knocked it out the park. Way to go, Olivia. Way to
go.
go to all the other new inductees. It was a really special night. So good job. Before I forget to, and then we can go to your list. My niece turned 4 on Monday, and my nephew turned 6 today. So
Happy birthday.
Owen and Addie. I got to throw that
birthday.
out there because my sister Meredith is always the first one to listen to our podcast as soon as it posts.
She'd kill you.
Yeah, exactly. I can't miss that. All right, so go ahead. What you got on your list, buddy?
You know, one of the things that I wanted to talk to, we talked about, the different things that we had going over. And like you said, I was in a race, and it was called Blue Ridge Relay, and you raced from Grayson Highlands, Virginia to Asheville with 12 guys. 6 guys are in a van. Okay. So the idea is they start at leg 1, and you have those 6 guys run those first 6 legs, and then you swap with the second van, and the second van runs 7 through 12. And while they're doing that, you're doing a couple of things. You're eating, you're laying on grass resting, you're doing a whole bunch of stuff, right?
So the van doesn't move; it's stationary.
Well, the first van drops a guy off at 1. When he starts running, it goes to 4 miles, 6 miles, 8 miles
To the
down the
next
road,
stop.
and it waits there while the other van is doing food, doing whatever it wants, and then they meet you at the end of 6.
Got it.
Right?
Got it.
So it's a lot of fun. But so my first leg, I was the 5th runner overall. We started at 10:45. My first leg started around, I'd say about 1:45. And it was 4 miles, and it was through West Jefferson. It was kind of hot.
Mm-hmm.
And I get done, 40 minutes later or 40 some minutes later, and I'm drenched with sweat. I ran hard, worked hard. All of us work hard, right?
Right.
Our van has food and drinks and, our bags and sleeping bags and everything else. After that first run of legs, it's also got 6 sweaty, stinky guys in it. Okay? So what do? We change clothes, we dry off, and all the people that have done it for years and years and years, we know we take those clothes and we put them in a Ziploc bag, a gallon Ziploc bag, and we get it tight and we put it in our bag, and it's gross until we get home, and then we go ahead and wash off, right? Well, after the second run, it's a little bit more gross. Okay, gets a little bit grosser, and we're not going to go into detail, but there's porta johns and everything. You're
imagine.
running, you're trying to eat, you're doing everything else. So after our second run, we're in this van together, and it starts torrential downpouring.
Yes.
Okay, so for the next, from about 2 till 2 p.m., so 12 hours, we're in this van, and you don't want to get out. The good thing about this is sometimes when there's great weather, you're stopping and you're getting out of that van. You're moving around and everything else. You can take advantage of laying down in the grass and do whatever. Torrential downpour, you don't get out of that van.
How many men per van?
There's 6.
6. Woo.
There's 12 pairs of shoes. There's it's a lot going on.
Yeah.
What do you think the 3 most important items that you have if you're stuck in a van in torrential downpour? with 6 hours of exercise on each man, what do you think's the most important part? If you had to pick 3 items that,
I would need socks,
okay.
right?
Oh, well, yeah. Well, I mean, my first would be probably baby powder. Okay, like we got to mask some smells here.
Understood.
Okay,
Yes.
so
Okay,
you
baby
got-
powder, that would make sense. Probably some deodorant or something. right?
Deodorant would be that. I think that would fall under that thing.
Yeah.
Baby wipes would probably be essential. You got to get clean.
Yeah.
Okay. You can use those under your arms. You can
'Cause
do
you're
it.
not showering, obviously,
you're-
so there's no time for that. So
No,
just-
there's no showering, and all the dirt that you use, or all the stuff you eat, all the drinks you have, everything, you're shoving it in a garbage bag. That's living within inside
the van as well.
Yeah, so you have your garbage as well. So the other thing is a good sense of humor. You better pack one of those because it gets to a point where there's disgusting smells at every turn.
Yeah.
You have guys trying to sleep any and everywhere they can, and there's no way you can turn away from it. Okay, we have a good friend, Daniel Willis, that I know you're a good buddy of, right? Yeah. You know, Daniel. He went with us for the first time. He said this is the most comfortable that he slept in a long time. Chad, you can explain to him that
Yeah,
he
let
is.
me try to describe
This is a 15-passenger van.
15-passenger van. And Daniel was about, what, 6 foot, what would you say? 6'4"? So he's laying on the floorboard of the first row behind the driver's seat, it looks like, with one leg cocked up on the seat, right?
Yeah.
A hoodie on. This looks miserable.
It
Hank.
is
I can't really
miserable.
describe it beside misery.
It's miserable
Yeah.
because you have nowhere to hide. And I will tell you, on that race, I have a ton of fun. But when it rains, and it's rained a couple of times, the last few hours, you smell every pore of sweat, every decaying food, every shoe, everything. It's not very good. You wouldn't go very far.
Yeah, so overall, I've talked to several of your running mates, and they all kind of said the same thing. They actually said it is a good time.
It is a lot of
Once you
fun.
get through it, you're like, man, we accomplished something. But during the race, they say it sucks. But y'all did perform pretty well,
Yeah,
too.
yeah. We came in 25th out of over 100 teams, which is good. I mean, we've run it faster, but we're older, and so it was a lot of fun. There was a team there that ran college at Stanford.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we ran 209 miles, and we averaged a 7:40 pace.
Okay.
7:40 mile
Very good. Yes.
up and down hills
Sure.
in Western North
Mountains.
Carolina.
Yes.
They averaged a 5:10 pace.
I also heard there was a group that it's called Ultra. So instead of 12 runners, you run the same amount of mileage
6.
with 6 people.
Yeah, that's dumb.
That's brutal.
You get 30 to 40 miles each. The problem with that is if you jump vans from van to van to van, you get at least an opportunity to sleep.
That's true.
2 hours, 3 hours.
you have more
with
space.
6.
Yeah, you have more space too, right?
With 6. Well, I mean, it's 6 in one van.
Oh, 6 in one van. Oh,
And you guys are riding together and nobody's sleeping because you're constantly moving, constantly going to the next one. So it's not very much fun.
yeah, that sounds rough.
But I just wanted to give you an idea of what we wanted to go through. The second topic I wanted to talk to you about is our street has changed. We've got new neighbors, and people doing renovations and stuff like that. And I'm sure your neighborhood, actually the house behind you,
It's for sale right now.
and I hear you're going to have some new neighbors. I don't know who these people are. But moving in and out of neighborhoods is kind of a funny thing, especially if you move there, because you have this idea of what a perfect neighbor is. Do you want to spend more time with him? Do you not want to spend any time with him? Do you want to build a wall and just say, hey, he's good to borrow a saw, but
Right.
I don't want him over here,
Drinking
for
a beer, watching the ball game.
20 hours a day.
Got it.
So I was just sitting here thinking the other day, not only what makes a good neighbor, but what are the qualities of a neighbor or things that happen in a neighborhood that can be relatively annoying. Now, I'll give you probably number one. And the reason why, not number one, but the first one that I come to.
Yeah.
And the reason that I come to this is I love my dog. My dog, I love her. She's sweet.
Mm-hmm.
She is good. She is good. Anything moves on my street, she barks. Anything.
Sure.
Okay? Cat sitting, the thing that annoys me now, there's a cat that has lived beside us for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
That dog has seen it ever since it was born. It sits in the driveway and it just won't bark at it. It will sit there and hammer it
Right.
for an hour.
Yeah.
It hasn't moved. It hasn't done anything. So I know my neighbors are going, this freaking dog. What is going on with this damn dog? Right? And I guess you can slash that with pooping in other people's yards. That would be a bad quality.
Of course.
Okay.
Yes.
Anything on the top of your mind that you could think of neighbors, maybe that would tick you off a little bit if the guy beside you was doing something? You might even think about qualities you have.
That's what I was trying to. Well, I've had multiple complaints that sometimes I will stay up a little too late at my house on the deck or in the little patio. So, but my neighbors, they're cool. They don't have to worry with that. I've been so much better too. We don't really even hang out at my house anymore. If we're hanging out, we're going somewhere else because the law got called a couple times.
Uh-oh.
So, we got to nip that in the bud. I do. So the one that's interesting to me, and I'm not pointing any fingers. I love all my neighbors, but a couple of our neighbors has to know about everybody's business in the neighborhood.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Did you know that so-and-so is putting in an above ground pool?
Oh, yeah.
These kind of things. Or did you know I saw the garbage can of so-and-so down the street and it had 4 empty cases of beer. And I was like,
yeah.
no, really? No, I did not know that. So anyway, you get a lot of this gossip.
The
kind
gossip.
Of stuff. The gossip.
The
That's my
gossip.
thing, yes.
Okay. Well, let me go through a couple other things and you tell me like your thought process on this and if it would annoy you.
Sure.
Okay. Yelling kids. Okay. In the yard. I don't think it affects us because we have yelling kids.
It does not
Yeah, we
bother
have
me.
kids.
But
Okay?
actually, I enjoy it because I know that they're out there having fun.
Yeah,
Go.
I okay, and I caveat to that is playing in the street, and all I can think about is like guy coming through stop sign, and there's a 3-year-old kind of weaving back and forth in the street. He can't get around it. He's kind of ticked off. He wants to get home. He's had a bad day. He's had he just wants to get home and have a beer.
Tough. Deal with it. I mean,
Okay.
it's a nice neighborhood. Nice neighborhoods have kids that have little vehicles and like to play in the street. No big deal to me.
Okay, all right. Power tools. Whether it's a lawnmower, a hedger,
Yes.
we're talking about a maybe a chainsaw. One of my favorite stories is I like to sleep in, but I sleep into a reasonable time, like on the weekends, 8:30. I'm not sleeping until 10, but I'm not getting up at 6. One of our good friends, Charlie Zagaroli, when we first got married, we lived across the street until he decided that he was too good for my neighborhood and he left. But he lived across the street and he had some friends from design school over, and I think they had quite the evening, right? Before kids. It was before everybody had kids.
Right.
And I go out, I didn't partake in that with them, and I go out at about 8:30 or 9. Wasn't really early, right?
Right, yes.
His buddy comes out and he goes, "What's the hell the deal with Super Neighbor over there?" Right? It wasn't even that early, but he was calling me Super Neighbor.
Did you start the lawnmower up? or
Oh
something?
yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
8:30 or 9. I mean,
sure.
that's not on a Saturday.
Go for it.
So, what's too early for that? What's too early? 7? Yeah.
7's early.
Yeah, anything before 8 I think is early.
Yeah, I agree. 8:39. That's reasonable on a Saturday.
Right.
Yeah,
and what's
it's
too
very
late?
reasonable. Do what?
What's too late?
What's too late?
Yeah, I mean, is 7 too late if it's light till 9 in the middle of summer?
You mean in the evening?
Yeah.
My neighbor Jason White will cut the grass at midnight with a headlamp on.
See?
I mean, no, it's fine. No, it doesn't bother me.
Jason White cuts his grass at midnight?
Yes.
I cannot wait to
With a
discuss
headlamp
that.
on.
Oh, hey, the other question is, does anybody worry about cutting it on Sunday morning?
I've only cut my grass on Sunday morning one time because Jennifer told me you're not supposed to do yard work on Sunday. And so I followed what she said, but one time I had to do it because we were going out of town. But yeah, I mean, to me,
We work.
it would not bother me is what I'm saying. But she said it's not nice to the neighbors for me to do that.
We
So I
work.
went,
This is my problem with that. Listen, if you have a job and you cut your own grass, you don't have a lawn care, you don't have anything.
Right.
You are just trying to get it in.
Yes.
You have a daughter that dances and does other things, and you're being pulled because of your family different parts. If I have to cut my grass on a Sunday morning before I leave for church or baseball tournament,
You got to do it.
I got to do it. I got to do it until I start getting my lawn service paid for.
Yes.
So that's another one. Farmyard animals.
Chickens and such.
Yeah. We have several friends that have chickens. The real question that I have is, okay, so you have chickens, right?
Yeah.
You know what they bring in? Snakes.
Snakes. Yeah.
Coyotes.
Yes.
Predators. So does that endanger your little Yorkie that's
Right.
fluffy in the backyard? You got a
course it
hawk
does.
coming in.
Sure.
Right? So
I've never really thought about that because we don't have many farm animals in our neighborhood. I know what you're talking about that as well. And I mean, if there was like a rooster or something that lived beside me that would cock-a-doodle-doo at the break of dawn,
Yeah.
that would probably get to me after a while.
Well,
Probably would.
I think we have friends that have cock-a-doodle-doers.
Yeah.
And, I will tell you, the one friend that we do have, we have L.T. Thompson, and he's got some chickens, but he has an asshole chicken, he said. He's got a guy that if you turn your back on him, he attacks you.
Oh, my Lord.
Now, why would you deal with that? He'd be the first one in the deep fryer.
Absolutely. And look, our fine producer Moose said here about these are small domestic animals allowed to be kept as household pets. What are we talking about?
We're talking
here?
about chickens.
We're talking about chickens and such. 5 small animals per dwelling is permitted. The keeping of 6 or more constitute of zoning violation. Examples of small domestic animals include chickens, guinea pigs, hens, geese, ducks, turkeys, dogs, and cats. Okay, we learned something new today. You can have 5. If you have more than 5, 6 gives you a ticket. Okay,
6 gives you a ticket. Okay, well, that's what I'm saying. Is like if you have farm animals, and chickens are tick 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 tick. But is it a nuisance? Rooster, absolutely. You can bring. If I see a snake in my backyard every 10 days because you're stupid chickens over there, hey, we're gonna have a problem.
We have problems.
We got a problem. Okay, parking in
Roosters are permitted, but properties within the city limits are subject to the city's noise ordinance. Wow. Thank you, Moose.
Thank you, Miss.
Yeah, go ahead.
Parking on the street.
Yes.
Okay, I have a new neighbor, and they leave to go out of town quite a bit, and they have one son who's a senior in high school. Okay, he's been great.
Yeah.
Kid's great, but when his parents leave, they always have a party, and it may not be a party like I'm not talking drinking or anything
just
else.
people hanging
but
out.
people are hanging out.
Yeah.
And there are 15 cars on my road every Thursday, Friday night, every other week because they leave every other week. This family leaves.
Got it.
I'm sure it ticks off a lot of people in my neighborhood. Doesn't tick me off. I'm sure it does.
Right.
Thoughts?
It would not tick me off. There is on our street in our neighborhood, there is a car that it stays. It's just a 2-lane street. So a car is always on the street at all times. It's never moved. It hasn't moved in 3 years. And the guy that lives across the street decides that he will put his car directly across from. So now it's a 1-lane road.
Yeah.
That's pretty annoying.
Yeah.
You know. I mean, if you know this one car, I don't know who's at fault. Maybe move this car, sit here for over a year, put it somewhere else. But this guy should know if that car's been there for a year, just move your car a little bit further
Just a little
down the
bit
street
further.
so we can get through it. But
Just a little bit.
That's annoying. Yes.
Yeah.
Annoying.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Yes.
The other one that may be a little bit, and I think you have this in your neighbor, overgrown yards. Okay, you got houses that can't be seen. You got beautiful houses in these neighborhoods, and you've got you're having them shown off with lighting and
Yes.
grooming and pruning and all this stuff, and then you have one individual that decides to not touch it since '78. Yes. Okay, does that cause for a response from the neighborhood?
I know people complain about it all the time. This is the kind of guy I'm, Hank, and you know this about me. If I can't control it, like if it's out of my control, I can't do anything. I can't make this guy do it. Sure. I mean, I could talk about it a little bit, but what good is it going to do me? So when they start chirping, I just let it be. I'm just like, this guy, this is just the way he wants it. It looks atrocious. It looks terrible, and it's probably bringing down the value of the homes around it. And he lives across the street from me, so of course it does. But what am I going to do?
Hey, what if there are cars? Okay, so we've had this. Cars in the yard, no license plate. So you cannot have automobiles that are not registered
Yes.
in on the street or in the yard. Okay?
Eyesore.
You got
Eyesore.
3 of them in the front yard. 3 of them. You make that call? Huh?
God, you're asking the wrong person. I try to stay out of everybody's business.
Okay, just say no call.
Okay, I'm no call. I will complain about it to Jennifer inside the house. Like, can you believe this son of a bleep?
Yeah.
But I'm not going to call the law or anything. Or I'm not going to call. I'm not going to get involved.
Okay.
I just stay out.
Okay.
Like Switzerland.
Okay.
Okay.
That's what I wanted to know.
Yes.
3 cars in the front yard's a lot.
Have you made a call?
No, I haven't because I have neighbors that will make that call.
Okay, so you don't have to do
No.
it. So you put the onus on someone.
I always
else to
look
do
down
it.
the street and I go, ooh, that's not going to bode well.
Don't like what I see down there. What do you think?
What do you think, Jerome? You go ahead and make that phone call for us. So I'm not going to get in that as well. And the overgrown yard is one thing, but I think it's everybody. I'm with you, man. Everybody's got their own time, their own energy, their own stuff. So I'm not really part of that. But, it is kind of funny to me because as we get older, it doesn't bother me either. But like those kids across the street, there's been plenty of times on like a Saturday night, they'll be walking out of the house and it'll be 1 and they'll be just talking. like talking.
Like talking.
Yeah, and it may be a little bit loud. I'm like, what the heck is going on out there? Who's walking down the street? And I feel like an old man.
Old
I
man,
hit
Grump
the
was still
blinds. I'm
skinny.
like, what's going on out there? And then I realized it's just two kids coming down. I'm like, it's fine.
How about this one? What about fireworks in your neighborhood? Are you for or against fireworks in your neighborhood?
Well, I think you know my position on fireworks. I'm a fan of fireworks.
Yes,
My
yes.
son could have a problem with fireworks, and he loves it. So, seeing that I lit one off at about 11:45 one night that sounded like a mortar was coming in to kill somebody.
Right.
I got to tell you, I applaud them.
I do too. The more fireworks, the merrier. So
Yeah.
just bring it on. Just don't catch my yard on fire, which happened at one of our friends' homes last July 4th. The whole front yard went
Lord.
up. Oh my God. It was scary as heck, but before it got too outrageous, we were able to
How
prevent
about
it.
I have a neighbor who's a huge Carolina fan, and if they beat Duke, especially, or a big win,
Right.
and he keeps mortars at his house.
Yes.
Okay. So, these games get over at midnight sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
right? If they win, which I know they win because I'm staying up and watching these games,
Right.
within seconds,
Yeah.
2 of them go off.
Really.
Yeah. Boom, boom. And it is
It's fun.
a lot of fun.
How about one more? During the holiday seasons, very large blow up inflatables. It might be like a huge Santa Claus or maybe 12 reindeer in the front lawn that produce music. And so they can, at night, so everything cuts on at the same time and the inflatables go up
yeah.
and then the music kicks on and it goes all the way through the evening into the morning. And then when day comes, sun comes up, it goes back down. Would that bother you any? Because I'm a big fan of inflatables, and I
like an
love
inflatable.
Christmas. I love Christmas.
Can you turn off the music?
It just stays on. Just
gosh.
stays on.
The music portion of it is what would get me. I mean,
After a while, you almost like it just becomes numb to you. You don't even hear it anymore, and then then like 3 days later, it pops back in. You're like, oh my God, has it really been? Yes, but every night, it's interesting.
I don't know because just the fans, it sound like a hovercraft, and it'd be like white noise. It'd be great,
Right.
But I don't know. I might, there we come back to the fireworks. I might do some sort of explosion that dismantles that thing. If
Yes.
I'm not sure.
Is you bring this up? You got any more on your
No,
list?
no,
Is
that was
good?
it.
Here are the attributes to a good neighbor, though. So, I mean, my neighbors are really awesome. They don't. If you need something, that seems like they're always there. So they're attentive. They're not nosy, but they just want to make sure everything is good. Another good quality, you got to like to watch a sporting event. I'm speaking specifically about
Yeah,
a dude.
your neighbor.
Yes, like a dude.
Your neighbor.
Yeah. Like to watch a sporting event every now and then. We don't have to watch them all. We don't have to watch them together. But, there's a big game on and you want me to come over or I want you to come over. Or if we just want to talk about it, just like to have them.
Hey, Kevin, how about those Panthers?
They're looking good this year. And lastly, but not the most important, do you like to drink a beer? Do you like to drink? It could just be one beer.
Sure.
But could we just drink one beer together?
Sure.
And
like
you
an
give
olive branch for you.
Yeah, you give me those 3 things. We're gonna get along just well.
Yeah.
Just fine.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree.
That's
with
all
you.
I need.
Hey, I agree with you. The one quality of my neighbor, I really like my neighbor. His name's Chris. He's retired military. He's just a great dude. You know what? How I know we respect each other as neighbors?
How's that?
Our line with the grass. Okay, we know where our line is.
Sure.
We know where our
Everybody
line is.
knows.
Okay.
Yes.
When he cuts his grass, and it's before I cut my grass, so mine's a little bit longer. He'll go about 3 feet into my yard just to make sure.
Got it.
Listen, I get it. You're busy. Let me shape your side just a little bit so you don't have to do it as much. When I do his, I go into his yard, and we get
That's
that
what-
little joke at the end. He'll be like, "Up, dared me to do it, didn't you?" So that's a good neighbor
Good
quality.
neighborly quality there. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Well, good.
So-
I think we've answered all those. Then, anything else on your list here today?
I don't think so, man. The only thing that I am getting so excited about is this morning when I got into that car. It's a little chill in the air.
Yes, feels good.
It's starting to get a little, and I'm not begging for winter.
Right.
I'm just saying, let's drive down the street with the windows down, and let's start to creep into fall.
Yep.
Let's just get away from this hot stuff.
And we are creeping because this weekend I'm gonna give you the forecast real
See,
quick.
this is why my producer. Listen, our producer does a lot of great stuff, but coming at me with a false fall is not what I wanted to hear. Okay, NC's false fall. I get it. It can get cold then hot again, but it's done that the last 3 weeks.
It really has. We've got a high of 82 on Friday. 58 is the low. Saturday low of 60. High of 82. I mean, this is some good weather.
This is good weather.
Good weather.
I see the weather now. Don't backpedal on me.
Oh God!
here.
Now we just went up to an 89.
Ah!
No, but we'll get through.
Look at that little stubby finger he's got on 89. We know it's going to be hot
Looks
next
like
Wednesday.
King Charles's little stub finger
Charles,
right there.
stumpy finger.
We have a tennis match tonight, Hank. You know, I don't really want to bring this up, but I encountered the worst loss of my professional career 2 weeks ago in this tennis league. So I must redeem myself tonight, and hopefully it will happen.
Did you love the response that I made?
It was pretty humorous. Yes.
Well, I got to tell you, when we have friends that think that they're kind of invincible and they forget about losses,
right.
You know, you just got to remind them every once in a while that they got their teeth knocked, that curb stomped.
Did you see how quick he was to throw his partner under the bus?
You did not get much help. Wow. You did not get much help.
Threw me right under the bus. But anyway, we're here to redeem ourselves this evening. So
I lost that day. I mean, I won that day.
I know you did. So 7 o'clock this evening, doubles. Our team against their team.
Yep.
Let's
do
get
it.
back on the winning
Let's
track.
do it.
You know, let's get back on the winning road. And anything else happening this weekend before we get out of here?
We're going to play our first fall baseball tournament.
All right.
So we only, in the fall, you only play a couple. It's not really the type of pressure, not that it needs to be pressure, but it's like relaxed, laid back. You just have kids working on stuff. So we're going to play our first one this week. We're only going to play 4 this fall between September and October. How about y'all?
Okay. High school reunion starts Friday
right.
into Saturday. Sunday, I'm sure I'll have many of story to share with you following next week following the reunion. A couple soccer games on Sunday as well. We have a 10 o'clocker and then a 5 o'clocker. Why do we play soccer on Sundays? First of all, it's second, a 10 o'clocker and a 5 o'clocker.
Yeah, get them closer together, man.
That makes no sense.
Get them closer together.
So anyway,
Are they in
reunions.
town?
They're in town.
Thank
Thank goodness.
God.
They're at Conover, so we're not traveling. But still, man, help a parent out a little bit.
I blame LT.
Yeah, I'll always blame LT. So anyway, Hank, it's good to be back in the studio. 1 month hiatus. We're back. I did have a couple calls or emails thinking that the show was over. They were like, "What has happened to Big Fan? Are you hanging it up?" And I was like, "No, we just need a little time to get back in the studio." So we're back. Try to stay on this 2-week regimen if we may. We'll do our best because the fans want us, Hank. They need us.
They do need us.
They need us.
Yeah.
Terribly bad. All right, buddy. So let's go get them tonight. And to all our listeners out there, please be safe. Bundle up. Fall's coming. And don't forget pumpkin spice toilet paper at Target as we speak. As we speak. There you go. All right, guys. Peace.
You've been listening to The Mesh, an online media network of shows and programs ranging from business to arts, sports to entertainment, music to community. All programs are available on the website as well as through iTunes and YouTube. Check us out online at themesh.tv. Discover other network shows and give us feedback on what you just heard.